Hey friends, and welcome back to Solid for ST Men's Comic Corner. Hope everybody's having a great day and a great week. Just want to show you some stuff I picked up recently and haven't had time to show yet. Got some new stuff, newer stuff, older stuff. Got some YouTube inspired purchases that I've been wanting to show, and I've got a Bronze Age #1. So we'll get into it. These first few books were inspired by our very good friend and one of the cornerstone collectors of this community, Mr. Why Not Art, Tony. He has shown these several times, and I'd always been interested in getting them. But the story and the art is great, and I'm sure a lot of you have picked this up, and if you haven't, you need to. So we have the first issue of Shaolin Cowboy. And most of this is done by Jeff Darrow, who I'm sure all of you have heard of. So got great story and art in it. It's hard to describe what this book is about. It's sort of it's crazy. Let's just say it's crazy, but it's good. There's no one way to, I don't know, to describe this. But like I say, a lot of great story and art. Issue number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Highest recommendation. I'm starting to get back in my new books. This is one that I had pre-ordered for a while, and I just got it like in the last couple of weeks or so. I'm sure a lot of you have already got this one too. This is the prequel to Dark Knight Returns. This is Dark Knight Last Crusade by Miller Azzarello and Romita Jr. It's I think it's, I'm kind of on the fence about Romita Jr.'s artwork. I kind of like it, but this is like Romita Jr. trying to do his best Frank Miller impression as far as the art. And it actually looks pretty good. So it kind of reminds you of the original Dark Knight Returns. So kind of leaves you maybe a little bit hanging at the end, but still overall a good story, great art. Okay, these are some books from like back in the 80s, late 80s. As a lot of you may or may not know, I'm a big fan of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I've been trying to get like all the crossover issues, and these aren't really Crisis crossover issues that I'm going to show. I'm going to do that in a separate video. But in my deluxe Crisis edition, there's a compendium that came with that, and it like up to that point, I'm not sure when this edition was out. Let's see. Okay, this came out in 2005, so 11 years ago. And up to this point, they tried to list like all the alternate worlds or all the different Earths there were in the DC universe. I guess pre-Flashpoint and pre-Rebirth or anything. And I've been trying to get a lot of those comics that like have some of the Earths or those stories that I enjoyed. Some of these I know you recognize. Okay. This is during John Byrne's run of Superman. Superman 21. Part 1 of the Supergirl saga. And appearances, the Earth that is in question in this storyline is Earth 23, which was actually an Earth created by the Time Trapper for you Legion fans, and it kind of, that's the only thing I didn't like about Crisis. They kind of wiped Superboy out of continuity, so they were, Byrne did a good job on this, but he pretty much said, okay, Superboy didn't exist in this continuity, and you find out supposedly that the Superboy that the Legion of Superheroes was inspired by was created by the Time Trapper in like a little pocket universe. So I think they called this Earth 23. think basically because the first appearance was in Legion of Superheroes 23, like the 80s version. So this is part 1 of the Supergirl saga. Okay, this is part 2, Adventures of Superman 444. And Superman finds out that on this other Earth, Jonathan and Martha Kent are no longer with us. Great art by Jerry Ordway. And I'm thinking this is part 3. This is where you actually see Superman kill somebody. This is Superman 22. John Burns run. Pretty good storyline. And a later appearance, probably 5 years later, was Action Comics 677. This is another appearance of Earth 23, which is actually where this version of Supergirl, or Matrix as she was known then, came from. So just trying to, collect the stories of some of those alternate Earths that I liked. And in that same vein, these two have Earth 3 stories. And you really don't know that then. But this is a comic that I've wanted for a while anyway, just because I love the cover, was Action Comics 320. And this was actually one of the first appearances of Earth 3, if I'm not mistaken. Great Kurt Swan cover. Have him fighting Atlas, Samson, and Hercules. And have another appearance in Superman Family 194. Some classic Bronze Age goodness. Okay. These next couple were actually a Captain Strangelove inspired, and I wasn't sure if I had it or not, and I went out and went through and found out that I did have this issue, but I found a couple issues cheap. Of Fate number 5, and I think Hans liked this issue because it had some character in it called Straga or Strega, and me, I always liked the Alan Scott version of Green Lantern, so anything I can get with like the old JSA characters. And that was basically the reason that I wanted it. But I found out I already had an issue, so now I've got more. So thanks, Hans. Okay, got some Batman books from, I guess, maybe after the so-called Bronze Age. After Crisis is what I call them. Anyway, but some great stuff here. Let's see. Get these in order. Okay. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this cover before. Most of these I had at one time, and I don't know if I traded them off or sold them or what I did. But I really wanted these back, so I got them recently. Detective Comics 583 with the awesome Mike Mignola cover. 581. And one of these books I'm not sure is the first appearance of the Ventriloquist and Scarface, I think. Here's an anniversary issue, Detective 572. Got a great Batman and I guess Sherlock Holmes cover. And I've mentioned this before. Wasn't a fan of the Millennium Crossover that came out like in the late 80s, but I really did enjoy the crossover issues. So this is Millennium Week 4. This is Detective 582. And got some beautiful art in it by Norm Breyfogle and Pablo Marcos. So for all you Batman fans, maybe not a key issue, but you This next is a 4-part story. It's the Batman Year 2 storyline. Written by Mike Barr and art by Alan Davis, Todd McFarlane, Paul Neary, and Alfredo Alcala. Got some great covers and great art and stories. Here's Detective 575. This is part 1. And as I said before, I had these books years ago, and I don't know what happened to them. I know I either sold them or traded them. So, wanted those back. 576. Great Todd McFarlane cover. $5.77. This is a pretty classic cover here by McFarlane. And part 4, $5.78. Another McFarlane cover. Okay, these last three, one was YouTube inspired. And the other two were a couple that I've been wanting for a while. But I think Dr. Von Chill, our good buddy John, featured this in one of his behind the cover sequences, or maybe books he wanted to get slabbed. I think it was behind the cover. But I know he showed it in one of his videos. And I thought I had this book, and I went back through and found out that I didn't. That's what you get for spotty record keeping. But anyway, Submariner number 20, great Doctor Doom and Submariner cover. Just a beautiful book. This is probably a 6.5, maybe 7.0. Pretty nice copy, but a great cover. Oh, and this is pedigree. This is from the Mighty Marvel Maniac collection. This isn't on the book. This is just on the outside of the Mylar. So this is a pedigreed book. And the last two, if you're Gothic horror fans, have Dark Mansion of Forbidden Love number 2. With those great covers. That might be a... most of these were done by Gray Morrow. I'm not sure on these. It might be, but this is Dark Mansion number 2. And finally, a book that I really been on my list for a long time. Probably like a VG Fine copy. It's got some writing on it, which that doesn't really bother me, and a few little dings. But Sinister House of Secret Love number 1. I just love these covers with the castles and the girl running away, and kind of reminds you of some old late 60s, early 70s Hammer films. Pretty cool. Okay, guys, that's all I got. Thanks for sticking around. And as always, onward and upward.